Pep Guardiola is going to sign a new deal, Joe. Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a brand new video. You've got myself and Joe here today, and we want to talk about our beautiful manager, Josep Guardiola. Our most successful manager of all time is coming not towards, but we're starting to look at the end of his current contract at City, and the question mark is now arising over whether he's going to extend or not. Let's have our conversation about it and see what we think. I'm feeling generally optimistic, Joe. How are you feeling? Outline your initial thoughts when I ask you, is he going to stay?
I think he will. I think it's set in stone that he will. I don't see a world in which he doesn't at this current moment in time. I think there's been too many other contract extensions to players who you'd think, well, they wouldn't stick around if Pep's here. You look at Cancelo, he won't be around if Pep's here. Look at Bernardo Silva even recently with his rumours. He's not going to sign if Pep's not here. So I think it's set in stone. I think he will. I think there's no reason for him not to either. I mean, I don't know what rival fans think about it. I reckon they are absolutely terrified because he's going to dominate the Premier League still. You've seen what he's done over the years. He's been constant ever since his first year when he's come in and he's overhauled the squad and got, his players in and got his ideas across. Been utter domination, at least domestically anyway. So I don't see why he wouldn't stay. And for me, he's more important than any other player. I think you have good players can produce moments, but Pep is the most important part of this team right now.
I've seen over the years while Pep's been here, a lot of fans from rival clubs who, like United, when they got new players in, they start to think they can make a title push, particularly back in August just gone. Liverpool, obviously, under Klopp, have given us a few tough seasons, and then Chelsea recently, they had their fortunes over us at the end of last season. They won the Champions League, and they thought this season was going to be where they would challenge for the Premier League. They all thought they could overhaul Pep and just eventually overtake him. But I think Pep has actually broken fans and people from other clubs. I think they've actually come to the conclusion now. I've seen people say this isn't just me trying to be arrogant. They believe until Pep goes, it's generally just going to be City's league. And he's made a lot of comments recently, Pep, when I asked about his contract situation. And he has not said anything other than one comment I saw today saying, I'm not going to be Sir Alex Ferguson, meaning he's not going to stay for 15, 20 years. But that would just be completely extraordinary. But he's made comments suggesting, it's up to the club. I'm happy here. The club have been good to me, and the club have been good to him, and he's been good to us. We're on the road to winning four Premier League titles in 5 years. Granted, we haven't had that European success yet, but I think it's coming. We've had that hurdle now of getting over a Champions League final heartbreak. Obviously, we were stuck in the last 16 and quarterfinals for a number of years there. We got over that. We got that monkey off our back. We got over that mental, psychological barrier, whatever way you want to call it. Got to a final, and we've done that. I think Pep is now hungrier than ever. He's had a lot of success at City, something like 10 odd trophies. That's obviously not the exact figure, but something like that. A lot of success, and I think his hunger, along with the rest of the team, is probably bigger than ever. I think he really wants to deliver City that Champions League trophy. Now, obviously, we're building a lot of statues at the Etihad right now, Joe, aren't we? We're building statues for Company still. There's one for Aguero on the way. I think there's one for Colin Bell, Mike Summerby, maybe Francis Lee. And there's constantly question marks over other people. I think Pep is definitely well within the realms of getting one right now as it stands, but he knows fine well that if he can deliver City that Champions League trophy, which I think he will, I believe he will, he's going to be immortal in Manchester City Football Club, wouldn't he?
I mean, if he wins it, that's statue outside the ground set in stone, really, because no one's ever done it before. Straight away, no questions asked. If he wins that, he gets a statue. And even then, even if he doesn't, he still might, because, again, utter domination. To win 4 leagues in 5 years is absolutely mental. No one's done that since the United days of Alex Ferguson. It's absolutely insane. First domestic treble, he's broke so many records, 100 points, loads of goals scored. It's absolutely absurd. And again, if we can keep him, I don't see why we can go and dominate even more. Catch up to United. I know, a few years ago, even still now, you look at it and you go, we're still a long way off United's success in terms of trophy count. But there's no reason why we can't eventually, just grind our way out and catch up to that, especially if we keep Pep for another few years, because he just wins trophy after trophy after trophy.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And I think you touched on it briefly there, and we've spoken about this a little bit in recent live streams and videos. that recent developments within the squad would lead you to suggest that Pep Guardiola is going to stay. Players like Bernardo Silva, who was pretty adamant, I think it's fair to say, in the summertime on leaving the club because he just didn't like England. He's got nothing against City or the fans. He just doesn't like England very much, and that's understandable as a Mediterranean guy. Cancelo just signed a new deal. Foden's on the brink of signing a new deal. Sterling's on the brink of signing a new deal. These players, I think, maybe bar Foden, but Sterling, Cancelo, Bernardo, McAtee, he was a tough one to lock down. A lot of interest around Europe and England and Europe for James McAtee. We've locked him down now in a long-term deal. Pep is the pull factor here. Obviously, City have had a lot of success recently, and there will be more success even when we have a new manager after Pep. It'll be a transition, but success will come because I fully believe the board and those pulling the strings in the club have got their brains switched on. But Pep right now for this squad is the pull factor. Why would Bernardo Silva, who's adamant to leave, like I said, just a few months ago, be in talks over a new deal? Cancelo started off rocky at City, didn't actually like it from what we could tell. He wasn't happy. Apparently he didn't get on very well with Pep, but now they have a great relationship and he's just signed a new long-term deal. I couldn't see these level of quality players staying unless Pep had committed his future to the club. And I think, obviously, this is a complete ballpark for me to suggest this, but I think if Pep does sign, which me and Joe clearly think he will, it gives us a good chance of signing a big dog striker somewhere like Erling Haaland. There definitely is a link here between renewals, potential signings, and a Pep renewal.
Well, yeah, because there was the whole rumour of, with the Haaland stuff, that he's only going to come if Pep's here, and if Pep doesn't sign a new contract, because obviously next season is supposed to be Pep's last season. So there was a rumour going around that Haaland wouldn't sign for City if Pep didn't sign an extension, because he didn't want to come in, play under him for a year, and then have a new manager. He wants to have his feet, because he's all about, we hear this all the time, he's all about the project. He wants him to stay for a little bit longer and play under him for a little bit longer under a bit more, like a longer term Pep project, which is understandable, and it's only going to help signing players like that. He has one of the biggest pulls in world football, because he is, right now, the best manager in the world. I don't think there's anyone better than him at the moment, and we won't get that pull with anyone else. Obviously, clubs like United and Liverpool have club pull because they're just massive European powerhouses from, they've got lots of history and stuff. But in terms of, manager pull, I think Pep's is the highest. And again, it's only going to help signing players to new deals and just signing players in general.
I think Pep as a guy, not just a manager, but as a man, he's very much success driven. He's a hungry guy. He wants success. And I think based off his recent comments and just what we can tell of him as a man, as a manager, and how long we know him for now, 6 odd years, is that if he feels there's still more success to be got, he will stick around if he's happy. And he has already said he's happy with the club. He loves the club. They've treated him well. And he's treated us well. I think there's a strong enough relationship between Pep and those running the club to convince him to stay. And I think he will. I think it's fairly obvious now from what we've been saying throughout this video, people at home, that myself and Joe are very optimistic about this. And Joe, I would go as far as to say is I think we will know, maybe not for certain, but almost certainly by late March to mid-April. What do you think?
I think I expressed my opinions not too long ago about I thought it would be at the end of the season, it might get announced. Now, I have since changed my mind. I think it'll be before the end of the season. Whether that's the right decision, I don't know. I'd quite like it to be after the season, because if we do get that far in the Champions League, then I'd quite like to have to focus on that rather than, talking about contracts and new play. We saw what happened last season when there was loads of parties when we won the league. I think it kind of affected that Champions League final a little bit because we're all in party mood. So I'd rather not have to focus on that. But either way, I don't think it really matters, because again, I think it's done already. I think they've been talking about it for a while, so I don't think it matters when they actually announce it. It's just a matter of time, and I think, get the league campaign over and done with, which around that time you'd say it would be around, April, that sort of time, and then announce the contract. I think having the league title there done, and then the new Pep contract would be like one of the best weeks this season.
Yeah, I think it is a done deal. I think it's done as well. I think you're right. And it's just, I think the players know, which is why we've had these contract extensions, and there's constant talks going on between other players and the contract extension. But I think it's a good position, and I think we're probably more hopeful and optimistic than we ever have been about a Pep Guardiola contract extension. How long that will be for, I don't know. He's obviously already explained the fact that he won't, emulate what Sir Alex Ferguson did at Man United by staying 15, 20 odd years. But I think there's definitely another 2-year extension, at least, if not 3, to stay, as long as Pep's happy with the project. That's based on how long all these players are signing their contracts for. 5, 6 years, a lot of these players are extending for 2027, 2028 kind of contracts. They must be pretty satisfied that Pep's going to be here for a good bit longer. Obviously, we don't know any details about any potential contract that has been agreed. I think it's going to come out in due course. Keep your eyes peeled over the next few weeks. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you want Pep to stay? Is that a stupid question from me? I think it probably is. Let us know your thoughts when you think it may happen, if it may not. We want to know all your thoughts. And of course, what an alternative manager would be if Pep wasn't to sign. Is there anybody you would like to see? We may do a video on this in the near future. Who knows? Do leave a like on this video as well if you would. Really, really helps the channel grow. Support's been fantastic recently, so keep helping on that front. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you very soon with some more content. Good night. God bless.